Namaste, everybody. Welcome to foundationmethod.com. I'm Cam, host of the program, and today I'm exploring a little bit more in our mental hygiene or mental health hygiene or emotional hygiene section, and talking about how do I know if I need self-care, or when do I know if I need self-care. So the simple answer for that is we always need self-care. So if you don't have a self-care program or sort of a bag of tools to help you with your own needs, then it's a really good idea to start exploring what that means for you. And I'm going to give you a whole bunch of links and stuff in the comments later on, so you can explore a couple of really simple templates to help you flesh that out. But to get to that point, we have to know that we need it, right? So about a decade ago, in recovery rooms, I came across a concept called the Halts: hungry, angry, lonely, tired, sick. Sometimes I've heard the S described as stupid or serious. So it's an acronym and keeps it really simple. So for me, I need things to be really simplified, easy to remember, because sometimes I'm a slow learner and a fast forgetter. So that helps me out heaps. The Halts. I need to halt when I'm starting to get triggered, or when something's starting to upset me, or when I've upset someone around me, and I have to investigate these little steps there. Am I hungry or hangry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I being stupid, sick, or serious, or too serious? Why so serious, you know? So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what it's about. It was described to me as like an emotional barometer that happens, so your lifestyle and all the things that you're going through starts to add load. All the stressors of life start to sort of mount up in an emotional barometer, and once we sort of pass the threshold on a certain level, then we'll start to overreact or get triggered. Out of context reactions happen a lot more easily. And I like to think of it as creating mess that I'd rather not be cleaning up. So if I attend to these halts before that emotional barometer gets up through my self-care program, then generally it keeps those emotions right size. And what I mean by that is, they're appropriate reactions to what life is handing me, and they've come up for a reason, and then I can do something about it. But when I'm not taking care of my self-care, those emotional reactions are sometimes really out of context or inappropriate, or the wrong reaction, or I miss it altogether. And as we know, if we're making better decisions, then we're having a better life. And also, these are things that I can do something about. I like things that I can practice, because if I practice them, then I can get the transformation that I'm looking for, and transformation of perspective, or transformation of whatever's going on, and then I can live well. So I always love something that I can actually do, and these are really great things that you can do. So the first one off is hungry, or as my wife says, are you hangry? So I'm a lot better at this than I used to be. This one's definitely a work in progress for me. But yeah, if I'm not eating well, or if I'm not eating well for me, then that's kind of the first place that I need to look at. And yeah, it's one of the first questions that my wife will ask me: when was the last time you ate? And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's that thing again. So I've made this one a simple acronym as well. REHL, REHL. So, is your food regular, enjoyable, healthy, and less processed? So is it regular? So in yoga, there's a saying from the Bhagavad Gita that one cannot be a yogi if he eats too much or eats too little, exercises not enough or exercises too much. It's all about having this balance, and aiming for a regular time of day to eat, and regularity in your diet, just for your body. And that's really important to say. So I know your lifestyle is going to factor into that, and everyone's quite unique in that, but the regularity, the body responds really well to regular food. Next is enjoyable. People forget to enjoy their food. Like, so many times I used to have the hospitality shovel, which was just really at the end of the day, just trying to eat as much as I could from the kitchen that the chef would allow me to have to sustain me through to breakfast time, and you just eat it unconsciously because you were just trying to get the food in. And it wasn't a great way to live, and certainly didn't absorb the nutrients. So there's a lot of studies around your intention towards your diet. So there was a study in Japan, and they sort of split the room in half, and they gave them these broccoli, and the broccoli in one half, they said to them it was organic and freshly farmed and blah 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 blah, and then the other group, they said it was from Coles, and it was like a month old, and it was just reconstitution from frozen, but it was the same broccoli, same farm, etc. And the guys that ate the one where that was said that it was organic, they had a better physiological response than the guys that didn't. So if you're enjoying your food, even if you're on the run, and I experimented with this, spending a lot of time traveling in my music career, even if it's stuff that isn't that great for you, if you treat it with reverence and like it's the most beautiful thing you've ever eaten, you really take the time to appreciate it. It feels different when you're eating it, and also the body responds differently to it as well and absorbs more nutrients. Is it healthy? Pretty simple stuff. Is your food healthy for you? Are you eating too many sugars, and is it healthy for your body? Like, are you trying to be vegan, but you need more iron in your diet because, that's just the way your body's acting at the moment? Are you shoveling down the bread when you've got, gluten intolerance? Those questions. Is it healthy for you? I'm not going to go into making it a dietitian seminar, which it's not. Just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Is it healthy for you? And we all know what that is. And less processed. So less processed means the body can absorb what it needs to a lot easier. So rather than going into crazy diet fads, just having food that is as close to its natural form, or creating it, making it from its natural form, I find is one of the easiest ways to get the absorption of the nutrients that I need for my body. So that really helps. And then if you can't get to your regular food, are you using any dietary supplements? Like, are you having your protein shakes? Do you need vitamin B supplements, BCAAs? Are you working in really hot, arid environments and you need more electrolytes? And I'm always going to put water in this. So you're hungry, are you getting enough water? So that can affect that as well. So that's the first bit. Second one is angry. So not just anger, because there's layers to it, and I know that. But the first one I'd look at is, your resentments. Is your anger based on resentments? And then the thing that they do in the 12-step programs, which is a really valuable thing to do, especially when you're in the midst of anger, is to understand what my perspective, what my role in this whole thing is. Own your responsibility of your anger. That's really important. Is your anger out of control? That's another one. Am I having this out of context anger based on something that I can't do something about? And if not, are you meditating? And if you don't meditate, start doing it now. So it's one of those things that, I find, my anger, my frustration levels start getting out of context if I'm not practicing daily mindfulness in some sort of form. So I've got a pretty set in stone routine that I do in the mornings with prayer, meditation, and then I'll have a yoga nidra during the daytime as well. And that keeps me, emotionally right-sized through the day and plugged into my higher power. So I don't suffer from out of context or unhealthy anger. There is healthy anger as well. Is it too much heat in your diet or self-medication? Are you drinking too much, or you're taking too many drugs? Are you eating only processed food? I remember getting to a point and I was like, man, it's so cranky at the moment. And I realized, I was doing lots of really great stuff. I was on a music tour, but I was dining out at fine dining restaurants at the night time. I was eating takeaway food during the daytime. I was eating hangover food in the morning. I was drinking too much. And so I was really on edge. Like my grandma used to call it the souls. Excuse me for swearing. The shit on the liver. And she wasn't a yogi. She was a farm lady, but she was really correct in what she was saying. If you were cranky, she called it you got the souls dial, and what that means is it's you've got the shit on the liver. So, and that's absolutely exactly physiologically what's going on when your liver's struggling to process all the food and the fats and the stuff that's going on. A side effect of that is liver heat, and a side effect of that is irritability. So that's something to look into. And I'm going to put a little link under there with the 10 tips on anger management. I'll just read through them, and the link that I'll have will explain it more, but this is useful. Think before you speak. Once you're calm, express your anger. That's always important. Don't go through the reactive text messages. Don't make important decisions when you're angry. Get some exercise. So that's an important check-in. Do I have my physical exercise routine in check? Take a time out. I like to excuse myself to the loo if I'm getting really triggered these days. It's a good habit of being able to go, look, I just need a few moments to think about this. And generally, if you're excusing yourself to the loo, no one's going to question that. Identifying possible solutions. So good to know, what you can do with this anger. Is there a resolve that you can see? Stick with I statements when you're talking to the person. So I suppose, as opposed to getting into the you always do, or running down a personal inventory of that person's shortcomings, trying to do their work. Stay with what you can do and with what you feel. Suggest not to hold a grudge. Use humor to release tension. I love this one. That helps me a lot. It helps me bring a bit of light into it as well. Practice relaxation skills. So we're talking about our meditation again and our yoga, and then know when to seek help. So that's a really important one that I struggle a lot with as a guy, but has been one of the big game changers, is knowing when to ask for help, and then being okay to go through the process of asking more and more people if I'm not getting the answers that I need, that are resonating with me. And that's the other part, is some people, when they do go for help, they just go into a very traditional format. They don't get the answers that they seek or that resonate, and then they just make peace with that. They stay angry, and that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is, keep asking the question until it comes to light in a way that really resonates for you. So the next one is lonely. How much social interaction do you need, and what sort is right for you? So it's important to realize that, introvert, extrovert, and we're all on this sort of sliding scale of how we sit in that. And the Myers-Briggs test is really cool. I'm going to put a link in there for a personality test that you can do online. It takes about 10 minutes. If you haven't done it before, take it with a grain of salt. It really works for some people. As in it brings a lot of self-awareness, and they get a lot of self-control out of it and a lot of joy from it. Some people get really angry because they feel like they've been put in a box, but whatever. I mean, it's something that you can do, and it can essentially let you know where you're at on the scale of introvert and extrovert, and that can be useful if you are struggling with what sort of interaction or social interaction you need. So especially when I was younger, I used to struggle with this. I'm an extrovert, so I love it. I love getting out and talking to people. I love being in a room full of strangers. They've all got great, interesting, different ideas, and I love immersing myself in that. That really vibes me up and nourishes me. Whereas my friends that are introverts, they just hate that. They just want to have one-on-one personal quality time. I love that as well, but I really thrive on that, that interaction of having a lot of people. I used to love it in hospitality, walking around the restaurant and having, 20 tables to attend to, and having great, trying to have, great interactions with everybody that I was serving. So yeah, knowing the sort of interaction that you need, and knowing the sort of contact with the people out there is really important to help you with the loneliness. But the main thing is plan your time, so as we get a bit older and we get stuck in our ruts, it sometimes gets a little difficult for us to stay on top of our needs as far as socially goes, especially if you're, got a family and all that sort of stuff. But it's really important to plan your time, and otherwise your needs just don't get met. There's another part to that as well, which is, if you haven't explored a spiritual life, or an understanding of a higher power, that can be useful for some people as well, because essentially when you're in contact with that, that loneliness subsides. So it's pointing towards meditation as well, not just social interaction, but potentially meditation. Next one is tired. So are you getting enough and the quality of sleep that you need? Are you getting enough of it, the right sort of it? Generally, I would refer to go and see a GP to get that specific advice for you, because we're going to have to take into context your lifestyle, your diet, your body type, what you do for your work. I mean, it can be a complex answer for that one, so always defer to go and see a GP. Couple of signs that I found that, are you getting enough sleep, or if you're to know that you're not getting enough sleep. So first one is battling with breakouts, so your skin's not good, or you're getting zits and pimples and rashes and that type of stuff. Your eyes don't look good, so that sort of cloudiness or the yellow, especially on the inside area there. You're gaining weight irrationally, you're craving junk food, you're chugging more caffeine during the day just to do what you need to do, you're feeling moody, depressed, and your focus and your memory starts to dim. So, there's some pretty clear signs. And then a very simple analogy of how to regain control of your sleep. I've heard a suggestion, which is count back 7.5 hours from your normal wake time, and then use that as your bedtime for a week. And if you're not waking up 5 minutes before your alarm after a week, push your bedtime back half an hour and continue the process. So look, I've tried it. It works really well. And it's a very simple strategy. Again, this can be a complex thing, and some people like to get their sleep apps, and they've got the stuff on their phone, and that might work for some people. I used to get about 5 hours sleep a night when I was managing yoga studios, and I was up teaching at 5, at the studio, just after 5 in the morning, and I was locking up the studio at 8 at night, and I was working in the studio during the day. And so I managed it with regular naps and little yoga nidras. And that 5 hours sleep, I was waking up like literally 5 minutes before, refreshed, ready to go for my classes, because, yoga was my life and my lifestyle, and still is. It's just I let myself sleep in a little bit more these days, which works well for me. And then other questions to ask, am I feeling energetically tired a lot? Is my tiredness lifestyle related? Is it partying? Is it shift work? Do I need to balance my sleep with little siestas? I'm a big fan of siestas. I think they work beautifully. So and I'll put a little link down there so that you can find that information. There's a couple of little deeper questions it's got in there as well. The next part is stupid, sick, or serious. So stupid, am I making basic errors in judgment? Are simple things confusing me? Do other people's regular repeated observations or judgment of my behavior baffle me? So what I mean by that is, other people's observations, that's their own. It's not my business. But if my wife is saying, wow, you're being cranky, my daughter's saying, did you have some cranky pills? And then my work colleagues are like, man, you've just been on edge the whole time. By the time I've hit 3, there's kind of like a similar trait that's starting to show up. But if I look back on those times where somebody's surfaced that with me and I felt really baffled by their observation, like, no, I don't know what you mean, like, I'm fine, Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and exhausted is the analogy that, a lot of people really hate, but that's one that if I catch myself saying, no, I'm fine, I'm certainly not describing a 1969 Bordeaux, a fine wine. I'm describing like, leave me alone, ask me no more questions, right? So if that stuff's going on for me, then, and I'm making stupid errors, and I'm starting to, forget my keys, forget my wallet, can't remember where my glasses are, that type of stuff, like stupid little errors. That's a good sign that I'm needing a bit of self-care. It might be a good time for me to go and have a chat with a friend or a mentor or a professional. Do I need a holiday? Do I need a break from work or break from my routine? Sometimes just being sick and tired of being in the routine, or being overworked and run down or burnt out. So that's an indicator I'm starting to make stupid errors. The other way they describe the S is sick. So seems obvious, but when you're unwell, you need a lot more energy for your body to recover. So you got to factor that in more than what you would need, right? So a lot of the time, and I was a big one for this, I'd get run down or sick, and I'd push harder in the day. I'd be like, I'll just work through it. And I'd just run myself down, and everything that I was doing, I would do a lot worse. And I would think that I was doing great. But the reality is, like, my body just needed that reserve of energy to heal. So see a professional, find out what the problem is, and heal it. And then also budget in time, intellectually and emotionally, for you to recover. So that's an important part. You've really got to kind of expand your downtime, if that makes sense. And then serious. Am I getting too serious? Why so serious? Am I finding it hard to laugh? Am I sweating over the small stuff? Am I making issues over things that aren't important? Am I triggered easily? So without going into the psychotherapy of triggers and all that stuff, which will come later once you've done the Halts, it's a good way of kind of checking in, like, am I over-analyzing? Am I going too deep into things that just don't matter, So it's that book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff, so that's that type of idea. So when was the last time you did your top line behaviors, is, I guess, the best antidote for this stuff. Like, when was the last time you factored in time to do things that makes your heart sing, the stuff that you really love doing? And if you don't know what that is, it's a good time to start looking for that. It's when we engage in that as a balance to all the hard work and all the stuff we do in our life that it really uplifts our consciousness, helps us be more present, helps us be more joyous more easily, and helps our natural gifts shine a lot more. So there you have it, guys. Once we've attended to the Halts, if the issues and the problems that have been going on before you attended to those Halts still remain, and pathways of action are not clear, or inaction if that's the case, then it's time to ask for help. And so I'm going to put a little link down in the notes there as well, a link to a self-care checklist that goes a little bit more in depth into creating like a plan for you. And so you can use that. Or if you're like me, you just stick with the Halts, because that's nice and easy, and I can remember it, is one of those things needing a bit of work. So once I've attended to that, places that I can go to look for help, I can go to my mentor or a sponsor, I can go to a teacher, a doctor, a therapist, a healer. I heard somebody talking around spiritual confusions, matters of the heart, and they said, why are you going to see a head doctor for matters of the heart? And I thought that was really nice, because, making sure that when you are going to ask and do ask for help after you've attended to your Halts, going to ask the right place. If you've got mental confusion, go and talk to a psychologist. Maybe, if it's physiological, you go and talk to your GP, but, you don't go and talk to your GP to help you understand existential crisis, because chances are they probably haven't even thought about it, you know, unless you're really lucky. and send me the message of that doctor's name. So anyway, the other thing to share is check in with somebody who has been through what you're experiencing and has the desired result. So peer-to-peer advice has been some of my best realizations. But asking the right person, you know, you don't go and ask somebody how they sorted out their relationship issues and they've never had a successful relationship, and they continue to struggle in the same cycles. Like, that's, you know, blind leading the blind. You go to somebody who has exhibited the issues, resolved, clear and grounded and healthy in a way that you want to bring into your life. So if you can ask around to find somebody like that, that can often be a source of great wisdom and inspiration as well. So yeah, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the Halts. And if you need your self-care, which we all do, so keep doing it. And if you're interested and if you liked what you heard today, come through to foundationmethod.com for the free 1-hour training, where I explore 6 of the biggest problems that stand between you and your wellness journey, and 6 high quality solutions. And all you need to do is just sign up for the newsletter and you can enjoy that. Budget about an hour. That's a really nice little training there, as well as the YouTube. And I'll put the YouTube links down in the in this YouTube video, so you can find the other videos that I'm putting together for foundationmethod.com. So yes, be well and namaste, and I'll see you next time.